Welcome back to another video, guys. So today my video will be based on Joe Biden and his foreign policy towards Iraq. Now, this was a senator who post 9/11 was quite a strong advocate towards invading Iraq. They had constantly pushed this idea of them holding weapons of mass destruction, and essentially what they did was not only kill numerous of their own but also take out civilians. The first video I'll be showing you today is essentially that, right? So it's a combat veteran who's come back to speak out against the war, right? So this is a war that some argue shouldn't have ever happened in the first place. Watch this video now and you can take your own opinions from this.
Wondering why we should voted for a war in the thousands of our brothers and sisters, countless Iraqi You also gave a medal to the man who enabled that war and caused that war. Your blood is on your hands as well. And you're disqualified. My friends are dead.
So is my son. Okay? For you. That doesn't matter, right? You don't think it matters to you. It matters a lot to you.
I'm sure it does. Okay. And I'm not going after your son.
You better not.
I'm not. No, I'm not going after your son. You are disqualified, sir. Disqualified. The blood is on your hands. Blood is on your hands. No. My brothers and sisters died in Iraq and Afghanistan. And he enabled that to happen. He enabled that to happen. He is disqualified. He is disqualified. No way he can be president. They are dead. Millions are dead in Iraq. He will not be allowed to be president. Disqualified. Trump is more anti-war than Joe.
So hopefully you've kind of come up to some sort of idea of how he may perceive the Middle East, but obviously one video wouldn't be enough. I've got another two more coming right up, right? But I've just got a couple of things to mention before I go ahead with it. So Joe Biden during his 2020 election campaign would come across as quite regretful for the involvement they had in the Iraq war. Now, he claims to be anti-war and even regrets the war, but there's other clips which would show that perhaps that isn't how he genuinely does think. Okay, so even in 2001, before the war was even declared, he was shown basically pushing the idea of invading. The only way the Iraqis can be saved is by removing their leader there, but also by invading, as if the American military were the only ones capable of bringing peace in the region and to get rid of this potentially strong power that could threaten the United States. Now, I get it. I'm a Republican / conservative voter myself, right? So I would support them in most situations. But the one thing that personally, I think policy-wise, that I probably don't agree with is war. I am quite anti-war. I don't see the point in Middle East involvement. We shouldn't be there. It's not our war to be fighting, right? The best we can do is economic sanctions in certain areas. But obviously, if certain states and certain countries have been transgressed by other superpower nations, then it's important to get involved. But apparently, Joe Biden, as the senator, didn't believe the same. So here's the second video.
I think you and I believe, and many of us believe here, as long as Saddam's at the helm, there is no reasonable prospect you or any other inspector is ever going to be able to guarantee that we have rooted out, root and branch, the entirety of Saddam's program relative to weapons of mass destruction. And you and I both know, and all of us here really know, and it's the thing we have to face, that the only way we're going to get rid of Saddam Hussein is we're going to end up having to start it alone, and it's going to require guys like you in uniform to be back on foot in the desert taking taking Saddam down. You know it and I know it.
Okay, so hopefully this second video should give you more of an idea of where Joe Biden really stood in the Iraq War. Now, just to keep in mind after watching the second video, this was Joe Biden essentially pushing the idea of war despite there not being an appetite for immediate military reaction from the United States civilians. Now, there wasn't really a demand in terms of either from the government or from the people post 9/11 to immediately react with a military response. This wasn't in their appetite at all. So this is extremely important to remember. Now, let's just keep in mind, the amount of effort, the amount of energy, the amount of passion Joe Biden from a Democrat side showed. He essentially was one of the key figures that helped push Iraq war into actually becoming something. The United States could have refrained from getting involved in Iraq there with military action, but they didn't. And personally, I would say that Joe Biden is one of the key reasons it was able to get through. Because without Democrat support, the Republicans would not be able to push through the idea of an invasion. This would need to be supported by Democrat higher-ups, essentially. So people that have got time. And obviously, to date now, Joe Biden has 47 years in American politics. That's quite a record. And obviously, back then in 2001, 2002, that was quite a thing, So 2002, so his influence bared loads of fruits when it came into pushing the war agenda. Now, for this final video, it will basically be a video of Joe Biden then post-war doubling down on the Iraq war. Essentially, rather than apologizing and coming out as if, I'm sorry, this shouldn't have happened. He essentially goes that it was the only way that they could have been sure. Of course, no weapons of mass destruction was found in hindsight. But, it's something really important to consider before showing so much support for a man who I can say with so much confidence has the blood of civilians on his hand without a doubt. Here's the third clip.
So the first and foremost thing is end the war in Iraq. Only one way to do it. Only one way to do it. You have to jettison the central thesis of Democrats and Republicans in the United States Congress in Washington. We're faced with a false choice. The choice is either more of the same and hand it off to the next guy, or leave and hope for the best. When even those who are saying leave and hope for the best, what are they hoping for? What do they say to you when they say that? When they answer, then what? They think if we leave, somehow you're going to get the sectarian warring factions together to form a central government in Baghdad that's democratic. Ladies and gentlemen, not in the lifetime of anyone in this room. And I've said this before the war. Not in the lifetime of anyone in this room is there a possibility of a central democratic government in Baghdad, trusted by the factions making up this polyglot country called Iraq. So you must decentralize. You must separate the parties within the context of a limited federal government. You must give them control over the fabric of their daily lives, starting with their own physical security. If you do not do that, in my view, there is zero possibility. So when everybody says you need a political solution, ask them, what is their political solution? Not their tactical suggestion. What is the political solution? And so I think it's, you can go on, I'm not being facetious, my website, joebiden.com, and get excruciating detail about what I think the political solution is. But it's pretty basic, folks. Never am I aware of any time in modern history where there's been a self-sustaining cycle of sectarian violence. Has it ended other than one of four ways? One side wipes out the other, a chance we cannot take, reigniting a Shia-Sunni conflict that could go from the Mediterranean to the Himalayas. Impose a dictator, which would be the ultimate irony for the United States of America. Occupy, which takes a generation or more and it's not in our DNA, or a federal system. Let's get on with it. Let's get on with it.
So thank you for watching today's video. This was essentially just based on Joe Biden and his intimate relationship with the Iraqi war. Now, I will be posting other videos, hopefully in regards to Joe Biden's manifesto, what he intends to plan for the United States for the next 4 years. But I'll also be keeping you guys up to date on the legal sort of actions that's been taken by Trump's administration and his legal team. The Trump campaign is still pushing forward with legal cases, hopefully taking it to the Supreme Court. You never know, we might see another Bush versus Gore. But I reckon it'll get a lot messier. Now, if you did like this video, please like, comment and subscribe. I'll be posting more content, hopefully more regularly. Till then, you take care.